Hello, guys. Welcome back to TFD. There is a lot unfolding around this new Time magazine article, and it just keeps getting crazier. Yesterday, I covered the announcement that A'ja Wilson was named Time's Athlete of the Year, and someone in the comments asked a very fair question. Who even reads Time magazine anymore? Honestly, that is a great point. But what's even more telling is the direction Time continues to lean into, right back into its old DEI award-era playbook. Because let's be real, Shohei Ohtani, an Asian superstar who completely rewrote Major League Baseball history this year, should have run away with this award. The man dominated the sport at a level we have never seen. This wasn't even supposed to be competitive. But somehow, against all logic, A'ja Wilson walks away with the honor. And as usual, nothing involving A'ja Wilson can stand alone. The sports media and now Time magazine cannot resist dragging Caitlin Clark into the conversation to stir up attention. They used Caitlin's name to frame her fan base as toxic, racial, divisive, and every other buzzword that gets clicks. In other words, the article used its platform to tear you, the Caitlin Clark supporters, down for no reason other than attention. But here's where things get even more interesting. There's another section of the article that's now circulating, a part we didn't look closely at yesterday. A'ja Wilson made some pretty low-quality comments that absolutely explain why fans reacted the way they did. And now she's punching back at the public, pretending to be shocked that people are calling her out. Let's not forget the history here. Before Caitlin Clark even set foot in the WNBA, A'ja Wilson was already showing signs of jealousy. She saw the writing on the wall early. Caitlin was about to bring a level of attention, popularity, and economic impact the league had never seen. Caitlin sells out 22,000-seat arenas. Caitlin drives record-breaking ratings. Caitlin moves merchandise that sells out within minutes. Time magazine awards don't fill buildings. Caitlin Clark does. And instead of embracing that rising tide and the opportunity it creates for everyone, A'ja Wilson and the media orbit around her always seem to bring it back to the same talking points: race, grievance, negativity, division. Every time Caitlin Clark's name is mentioned, the narrative somehow gets twisted into something about racial politics, as if we can't go 2 seconds without the conversation becoming a culture war. It's exhausting. Fans are tired of it. The league should be tired of it. The constant framing of Caitlin Clark's impact as some kind of problem instead of an undeniable asset is baffling. At the end of the day, this isn't complicated. Caitlin Clark has elevated the WNBA to heights it has never approached. Attendance, ratings, merchandise, national conversation, you name it, she has changed it. And instead of gratitude, certain players and outlets treat her success like a threat. And when they get called out, they turn around and blame the fans. It really is. You see this right here? WNBA star claims league's history was erased for a minute amid Caitlin Clark's rise in popularity. So somehow, Caitlin Clark's popularity reaches in and erases the history of the WNBA? No. You just need to understand that you've got regular sports fans involved now, and we don't need a history lesson to become interested in a sport. If I decide to watch hockey, you know what? I don't have to go back and watch old Brett Hull games. I don't have to go back and watch old Gretzky games. Sure, I've seen highlights, but none of that is required. And fans don't have time for that either. Fans are going to fan however they want to fan. These players are hell-bent on telling fans how they have to act and how they have to be. We're not looking for your acceptance. We don't want it. Trust me, we do not need the acceptance of these disgusting individuals. We don't need their obsessive approval. In an interview with Time magazine after being named the outlet's Player of the Year, A'ja Wilson said she believed the history of the WNBA was erased for a minute in the midst of Caitlin Clark's emergence. Quote, "It wasn't a hit at me because I'm going to do me regardless. I'm going to win this MVP, I'll win this gold medal. Y'all can't shake my resume." It was more so, let's not lose the recipe. Let's not lose the history. It was erased for a minute, and I don't like that. Who cares what you like? How about that? Fans don't have to care what you do or don't like, Ajal Wilson. We have tons of women who've been through the grittiest and grimiest things to get the league where it is today. Then she goes on to bring up all the same black and white stuff she raised in that 2024 Associated Press interview about Caitlin Clark's popularity. It always has to be about black women, too. Blah, 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 blah. We chronicled all of that extensively on this channel when it happened. She talked about Clark being supposedly privileged, but said she knows Clark got backlash for that. Quote, obviously, we live in a world where they don't want that. It's exhausting. No, we just don't want to be preached to. We're going to consume what we want to consume, and that's all there is to it. Then she adds, they don't see it as marketable, so it doesn't matter how hard I work. It doesn't matter what we do as black women. We're still going to be swept under the rug.
Us as black women, it reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, like, she understands her privilege and like, she's over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a compliment.
This is what Asia Wilson does not understand. Caitlin Clark is likable. A lot of players in the league are likable. They show personality, humility, and charisma. They come across as people fans want to root for. The fact is, Asia Wilson does not. She comes across as bitter, angry, and constantly irritated. That matters. It is as simple as this. Are you likable or are you not? Skin color, gender, fans do not care. None of that determines whether someone becomes a superstar. Sports fans gravitate toward who they enjoy watching, who entertains them, who brings energy. The only thing fans care about in terms of identity is this. We don't want men competing in women's sports. That's it. Beyond that, just be likable. Stop lecturing. Stop turning every conversation into race, grievance, or division. It is exhausting. People want to watch sports, not political monologues. But instead of focusing on the game, Asia Wilson decided to run her mouth online. She is clearly irritated, and honestly, the question fans keep asking is a fair one. Why was Caitlin Clark even mentioned in this Time magazine article at all? Why did Time bring her up? Why did Asia bring her up? If this was truly Asia Wilson's moment, if this award actually spoke for itself, there would be no need to tie Caitlin's name into it. Let's be real. Some people argue that neither Time magazine nor Asia Wilson can generate engagement without mentioning Caitlin Clark. And they may be right, but that doesn't change the fact that there was absolutely no reason to include Caitlin in this story. Not from Time, and certainly not from Asia. If you are the self-proclaimed MVP, if this award is such a major accomplishment, why does your article need Caitlin's name to get traction? Why does Time have to use Caitlin's popularity as a marketing tool? Why does Asia herself feel compelled to reference the athlete she claims isn't competition? Because the truth is simple. Caitlin Clark is the engine. Caitlin Clark is the name that moves numbers. Caitlin Clark is the story casual fans care about. And deep down, that reality bothers people who believe the spotlight should be theirs by default. So instead of celebrating her achievement, Asia Wilson once again chose the tired route. Complain, deflect, invoke race, and drag Caitlin Clark into a discussion that had nothing to do with her. And then they wonder why fans push back. So she's mad, clearly. She jumped onto Threads. Yes, Threads of all places. I think this might actually be the first time I've ever opened that app. And here's what she posted. You can always tell who reads articles for joy and better understanding of something or someone versus who reads articles just to look for something they disagree on or to stir up stuff. It's crazy out there. Y'all be blessed. That's her response. Instead of addressing the criticism, instead of owning what she said in the timepiece, she frames fans as the problem. Suddenly, everyone who called her out is stirring up stuff, not reacting to her own words. And right out of the gate, my boy Darnell comes in firing rockets. He replies, "Wow, you're nasty, just delusional, hateful, jealous. You are not marketable. You're not relatable." Darnell wasn't playing around. He came out swinging. No hesitation, no sugarcoating. And honestly, a lot of fans feel exactly the same way. The backlash isn't random. It's not people looking for something to disagree on. It's people tired of being lectured, tired of her making everything about resentment and victimhood while dragging Caitlin Clark into conversations that had nothing to do with her. So she's mad. Of course she is. You call out the fans, you label them toxic, you let Time magazine paint Caitlin Clark supporters as racially divisive, and somehow fans are just supposed to sit there and smile about it? Now, to be clear, she didn't use those exact words, Time magazine did. But Asia Wilson attached herself to the article, contributed to it, and completely aligned herself with the narrative. So when fans respond, suddenly everyone's attacking her. Time magazine openly said Caitlin Clark fans were toxic. They openly said the fan base was racially divisive. They positioned regular sports fans as some kind of social threat. And yet fans aren't supposed to say a single word in return? Come on, this is the internet. This is sports culture. People react. And then there's the claim that Caitlin Clark's popularity erased history for a minute. Hate to break it to you, but no one cares. That is the blunt truth. Fans are not required to study a 28-year encyclopedia of WNBA history just to enjoy a product that, let's be honest, most of the country wasn't watching before Caitlin Clark arrived. You don't need a history textbook to root for a player. You don't need to memorize old playoff stats to buy tickets or tune in. Fans do not want to be told how to be fans. Period. And she's mad, but here's the thing. We've been here before. We are about to enter 2026, and somehow we are right back in the exact same place we were in April of 2024. The jealousy, the bitterness, the aggressive attitude toward Caitlin Clark, it's all still there. It never went away. And when Caitlin returns to the league next year, I fully expect these players to try to physically rough her up again. Why wouldn't they? The league never stopped them before. Think about how many incidents happened in just the small number of games she played. 3 or 4 dangerous moments in what, a few dozen games? Every 5 games, someone was taking a shot at her. Angel Reese, J.C. Sheldon, Marina Mabrey, the whole list goes on. And the league? Silent. No accountability, no protection for its biggest star. Is that ever going to change? Is the WNBA ever going to step in and stop this nonsense? Or is this going to be the cycle every single season? Jealous players taking cheap shots at the one person who puts money in their pockets. Asia Wilson does not like it when people call her out. She hates being confronted with the venom she herself spits into the public. But we're not going to sit here quietly while she feeds these narratives and then pretends to be the victim when fans react. If she keeps running her mouth, fans will keep responding. That's how this works. So tell me what you think. Is the league ever going to step up and address this? Or are we heading into another year of the same hostility toward Caitlin Clark?